You're now listening to Mark Who 42 from the Whoniverse and beyond.
Reading is fun, but I know a lot of you out there don't have a lot of time to spare to read. But you do drive your car to go from place to place, and that's why you should get audiobooks. Audiobooks like the ones they have at Audible. Hi, I'm Mark Baumgarten, host of Mark Who 42. If you are interested in reading fiction, non-fiction, Doctor Who titles, Audible has 180,000 titles, actually more than that, for you to choose from to get your reading done in an auditorial fashion. Go to audibletrial.com/markwho42 and get a free month's membership, and there's a special deal right now where you can get 2 free downloads of audiobooks. And you can download any audiobook that's on their site. So go to audibletrial.com/markwho42 and take advantage of this free offer. If you enjoy your audiobook, you can stay with them and only pay $14.95 a month. You'll get another download, and you'll be, again, a member of them, where you'll be able to get low rates on Audible books. So, once again, go to audibletrial.com/markwho42 and read. Or rather, listen. That's a good Doctor Who phrase. Listen.
Hi there. I've just got to be a bit quiet for a minute because I've got this funny feeling. Oh, by the way, it's Sophie Aldred here. I played Ace in Doctor Who. And there's this guy called Mark, okay? And he's kind of following me around, and I'm kind of trying to hide from him, but I'm not sure. Oh yeah. yeah. Mark Who 42. Yeah, guys, I don't know how this is going to go, okay? So help me out if I need it, all right? Okay, brilliant. Here we go.
Welcome to Mark Who 42. I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten, and with me today are...
I'm Ken Spivey.
Hi, Ken.
Hi. I had an energy drink.
I also had an energy drink. How's it going? I'm Iggy Matthews.
Hi, Iggy.
Hi.
Don Quiros. Just waking
Zion,
up.
how you doing? How's school going at UCF?
It's killing me.
I'm sure it is.
I have to work and work and work.
That's what school is. It's work. Mm-hmm. Who else do we have?
Patricia Fryer.
Hi, Patricia Fryer. How you doing today?
Tired. I'm 3 hours behind you guys.
Yeah, you're still in bed. You're still in bedtime mode.
Well, catch up.
Catch up. Yes. Get the jet lag.
Caffeine. It'll be fun.
Oh, you had the caffeine. Good. Well, we could do introductions all day long, but first let's go to... Mark Who 42 News with anchor person Iggy Matthews. Iggy, what do we have in the world of Mark Who 42?
Well, the big news right now is that apparently K9 might be coming back. Just kidding. No.
Oh,
he's
just
not.
kidding.
We got
I saw
played.
rumors.
We got played.
Where did you hear that it wasn't really K9's not really coming back?
Well,
I just read the article that said maybe he's coming back.
Maybe it's coming back. I got word that the K9 that was on the set was brought in by a fan, that it wasn't the real K9, and that they were trying to keep your eyes off of what was really happening by doing disinformation and making you believe K9 was coming back. But something is happening, but they didn't want that publicized.
That explains that article I read about the Cylon on set because that didn't make any sense.
Yeah, the Cylon. I mean, a Battlestar
That really cleared that
Galactica
up.
Doctor Who mashup. Yeah, it wouldn't work. Or would it? Let's go to fake news. You had a
So
good
I
fake
have-
news story here, Ken. What's this about the Matthew Waterhouse challenge?
According to sources, Matthew Waterhouse shall be hosting a 2-part trivia special. And to support, instead of children in need, children in wealth. Children who have a little too much. This year, Dr. Who will help take away one item from their bedroom.
God.
The shade. Ladies and gentlemen, that is shade at its finest.
Brought to you by Epcot Center.
Epcot.
Believe
The
or don't.
economical... I can't even come up with an Epcot.
Wait, egonomical? Wait, it saves on my ego?
It saves in
If you
your
can't-
ego.
If you can't
Patricia,
If you can't conquer
Ken
Europe,
with a
you can
C.
conquer Epcot.
oh my God, terrible. Epcot, thank you.
Don't
Back
worry,
to the
this is
real
all a
news.
fig-
What do we got?
This is all a figment of your imagination.
This is a figment. It's a
Oh,
slow
God.
news week, folks. What can we say?
Yeah, there's no Doctor Who news this week.
Well,
like, the
no,
targets
there
are still
was. We had
blue.
the fake canine story. Now, it's interesting to know, and I'm going to bring this up, Iggy, if you don't mind. Black Panther, the ticket sales are through the roof. I'm hearing good things. I can't wait to see it. What about
No,
you
it's
guys?
great. It's great. It's a great movie.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
and you know, when I was at Comic-Con Revolution, which was just after Black Panther came out, it seems like the demographics of a convention have shifted, and I like it. I think it's about time. People were really into Black Panther.
Because it was really good. I mean, it had a great message, and definitely one worth noting because it's not like boom in your face. Here's the big message. It's been stretched out throughout the entire movie, and it's still very much about Black Panther and his the journey of Wakanda as well, trying to come out of the little bubble of seclusion.
I am
but
protesting it because Africa by Toto is not in it. So I really want the lyrics. I smell the rain.
I know. That song should have been in there. That's
I
from
smell
what I
the rain.
understand. That song
I
was
smell
supposed
the
to be there.
rains down in Wakanda. That is just
my
it's
God.
made for that. So until they come out with the director's cut by Zack Snyder,
But you know what? I
I
think
am
the
to
problem
avoid it.
was, were there any scenes that there was rain in Black Panther?
well, they could smell it. They could smell the rain down
They
in
could
Wakanda.
smell the rain down in Africa. Yeah.
yeah, it's in the air.
Taking the time to do the things we never had.
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm pretty sure they could feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh, Lord.
No, that's Phil Collins. We can stop right there.
So I haven't seen the movie. Do they go into the fact that he takes herbs that are slightly addictive to get super agility, and his suit is basically Iron Man suit mixed with Daredevil suit, but it's in kitty cat form?
Wait,
In
stop breaking
kitty
apart the
cat
movie,
form.
Ken! No, you're a bad person. No.
Kitty cat.
I mean, I read a lot of Marvel, so I know all about T'Challa. So
So I'm wondering, Claw, we talked about this last week. Okay. Is there any other news, Iggy?
Well, Infinity Wars and Deadpool 2 are fixing to be pretty awesome, too.
Yeah.
So,
Gotham came back.
Gotham is back on. Yeah, the season
Oh
of
my
Gotham
Gotham.
restarted.
I love me some Gotham.
Yeah.
Hey, and don't forget they moved up the Infinity War release date.
Infinity War
Wow.
up
Yeah, they
a
did.
week. Moved
I
by
know
a
it.
week.
so excited. They know, the fans are like, we can't contain them back any further. Sir, we must do something.
I think they
One
realized
week.
that their May was way too packed with movies that they're just like, maybe we should
Mhm.
give April some love.
Yeah, and when they were asked how long the movie is running, they just showed that symbol that looks like the Jesus fish, but drawn incorrectly. So,
The infinity symbol?
yeah, whatever. And
The Lazy Eight. That's what it is. The Infinity symbol is a lazy
8 didn't feel like getting out of bed today. Okay, it's just the
Exactly.
petrol going.
That's infinity.
yeah, whatever, man. I don't have my master's in math.
That's not even math, okay? That's just like the new street lingo that kids are using. Like, I recently just learned how to use the word flake properly.
I know.
Didn't know for the longest time.
When we were looking for wedding rings, every wedding ring has the infinity symbol on it, and we were like, well, no. Like why are there mathematical symbols on our wedding rings? Like, I do not want that.
It's a Marvel symbol, okay? Do you want to marvel in her beauty? Ah, you see that? Let's marvel at her beauty. Let it be infinite. Ah, yeah.
Thanos, where are you?
She has spikes on her ring.
Oh, that's the best kind.
I had to pick it out. I thought it would stab my hand or something.
She's getting ready to backhand you if you say one crossword to her. You gotta watch out, man.
She's
That one's gonna
stronger than I am. This is Doctor Who news, everyone.
No,
Yeah,
it's
well-
Mark Who 42 news, so it doesn't have to stay with Doctor Who completely.
I mean, last week the news was a font, so, I mean, it's only downhill from there.
Only
Why'd you have to
downhill.
go and bring that up? Because I'm still salty about this, okay? You got the font, and me being military, I see that line going through. I'm like, in the military, when you one line and initial something, that means that this was a mess up. Ignore everything that's right here and pay attention to right here. Okay, so I'm like, Doctor Who, line. I'm like, was that a mistake? Where's the initial? Somebody forgot to initial it. Hello?
It looks like that bamboo font that every school teacher uses, but in cap lock.
Sorority girls tends to use those fonts as well because it looks so cute.
They're totes adorbs. Oh my god.
OMG. OMG. Okay, apparently you got to get with the lingo
So
of
K9's on
Cali.
Doctor Who now, huh? I love me some K9, and I think K9 would be a fine addition to the other 35 companions that'll be in the TARDIS this season.
Hey, companions! That sounds like a good topic to talk about during the
I
meat of
see
our
what you
program.
did there.
I see
Nicely
what I
done.
did there.
Yeah, a segue is not just something stupid that cops ride in malls. It's also a fun.
Paul Blart, Mall Cop.
Be-doo, be-doo, be-doo. Please divert your attention to the left. Thank you very much.
I mean, not that I don't want one, because I really want one, but life goals.
Well, I think I would die
What's
on one of
your-
those, honestly.
Your bucket list is to drive a Segway.
I've driven one, man.
Have you?
Oh, yeah.
I need a review.
Well, it was like standing on something and then you were moving, but you weren't walking, but it wasn't a car.
That was the worst review I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah,
But it
well...
perfectly explains what a Segway is to our audience.
Sometimes you feel like a nut, and sometimes
Sometimes
you're out of
you don't.
Segway.
Somebody
Oh.
give Ken a cape so he could be Captain Obvious, the hero nobody needed or wanted.
Captain Obvious is sad that you hurt his feelings just now. And
Hotel.com, and not a proud sponsor of Mark Who 42.
if you're looking for a hotel, they have
Don't
hotels.
go there.
They have hotels. And a .com.
Hotels.com.
Iggy, anything else?
Well, I don't have a headache anymore.
Well, that's
So-
good.
That's
How's the
fantastic news.
That's why I took it.
The hangover's over?
You know what? That is actually really true because Saturday, my friends are terrible. And if you're listening to this, I am speaking directly to you, you bastard. You know who you are. Okay? Bought me a small Sailor Jerry bottle. And I'll drink with you, man. It's going to be great. Let's take a shot. Okay? An empty bottle later, I'm going, how did this happen? And who allowed it? I am not supposed to be left unsupervised in a
How small
house
is small, Iggy?
like a fifth. Okay? And most of it
Ooh.
went to me. Okay, I woke up the next day. Okay, and I'm going, how did this happen? This must be a miracle on couch. Okay, how did I?
And see, what you needed was a good companion to keep you from doing that.
Yeah, and I
And
did not have one.
companion, wow, I could make that segue again if I wanted to.
It's like a whiny road. Like it's just cut in and out, in and out.
Everything goes
On
back
and
to
on
the
and on
basics.
and on.
Is anybody
No, stop right there. Stop right there.
is anybody going to watch the Oscars tonight?
Yes.
Yeah.
A good
And of course,
companion
by
would-
the time you're listening to this, the Oscars are over and you found out who won. So let's make our predictions. Who is going for Best Actor?
I really hope that it's Gary Oldman for Darkest Hour.
Every
I
toddler
hope
in
so,
America.
too.
Oh, he was amazing in that.
Really? Because it
Half
felt
the
like
time.
every other Churchill movie. There's only so much to say. How many are we going to watch?
Well, I'm not judging it on
Like- like
whether
God.
there's
I'm waiting for
another
Ian
Churchill movie.
McNeice to
I'm-
make his Churchill movie, and then we'll.
Felt like it was a week in the life of Churchill. The great Churchill biopic, and like, well, was Churchill just loitering? You're like, well, it's great, man. That was Churchill on a train, huh?
Well, you did the best
Churchill
representation of Churchill on a train that I have ever seen, though. It was
Yeah,
rather majestic.
but he was a really good. He was pointy for a Churchill because Churchill was kind of pudgy. He looked like a newborn baby because all babies look like Churchill. And
That's true.
but Gary Oldman did not look like a newborn baby. He looked like Gary Oldman, and that was another problem I had with the film. I mean, I liked it, and it was interesting, and it was, but
I actually forgot that it was Gary Oldman most of the time. Only occasionally he would give a certain look, and it would be like, oh yeah, that is Gary Oldman.
that's called acting.
Okay.
Exactly. Which is why
And that's why he gets the award. Whoop, whoop.
Who won actress in a leading role, folks? Who won actress in a leading role?
It was me. Guys, it was me. It was me.
I really hope that it's the lady from The Shape of Water,
Sally Hawkins.
Sally Hawkins. Thank you.
I
Yeah,
Good
Sally
question.
Hawkins definitely the winner. If she didn't win, then you're in an alternate universe, because in our universe, Sally Hawkins won. Meryl Streep, I would put up there, but she's won so many of them already.
She's
there's no
won so
point.
many, though.
Yeah, there's no point.
Like,
And I mean, she's
You know-
good in The Post, but she's not. It's not. I liked The Post. I found it kind of slow and boring in some spots.
Mhm.
I actually enjoyed All the President's Men more than The Post, and I mean, her performance is okay, but I actually think that Tom Hanks's performance in that movie was way more deserving of an Oscar nom.
Yeah.
So I just don't.
Yeah, but it's Tom
Understand.
Hanks, and he's like the person. I usually rate actors like whether or not I want to share like a drink with them, and I do not want to share a drink with Tom Hanks because I feel at some point I would fall asleep.
Well, in that
And-
case, bringing up the drinking with the celebrity, who in the Mark Who 42 Whoniverse won actor in a supporting role? We
What?
don't care about
You
the
mean
real
like-
world. Who won for us?
Do you
Oh, I
mean
thought
like
we
in
were
a
taking
Doctor
the
Who
cast
or
right
a
here, right
poster
now.
show?
He was acting as supporting. Huh.
That was ambiguous. You need to narrow that down.
Well,
Like
okay,
Doctor
I
Who
think Christopher
episodes or-
Plummer, but
Is Doctor
hasn't he
Who?
won a couple already?
I think he's only won one, actually.
He's only won one. I would want to drink with Woody Harrelson, though. So
Well, he looks like he knows how to drink.
he
So-
does. He knows how to do more than just drink. Woody Harrelson.
He can swallow the drink.
I want
He
a
can
drink with
smoke
David
the
Tennant.
drink. He can
Lord.
smoke the drink.
Speaking of David Tennant, Jessica Jones comes out next weekend,
Speaking of David Tennant,
Steve
where did
Martin.
that come
And he-
from?
and David Tennant's going to be. Oh, I wrap this back up to Doctor Who. Jessica Jones, season 2 is coming back. David Tennant's going to be in it in some way. So the Purple Man that all the ladies love, even though you really shouldn't love that character from the first season. I mean, just
Mhm.
like life hack, don't do that.
Yeah, it's the same thing as
The
Joker
only
and
thing
Harley
with the
Quinn
Purple
relationship.
Man,
That-
they should have
I don't-
They should have colored his skin purple. Then it would have been perfect to the comic book. I know it would
not
have
nice.
sucked. It would have sucked.
Also, I totally don't believe he's dead because in the comics he had a healing factor and he always came back.
Well, he
Mhm.
is
And it
coming
happened
back.
within about
He
an
is coming
hour.
back, so that's good.
I mean, we don't know if it's a flashback or we don't know if she has PTSD, so we don't know if it's going to be her struggling with all those very complex and real emotions. And I think Jessica Jones is a very good show during this time, during the Me Too movement, and that it's a fictional account of something very real. So Jessica Jones this season, at least it appears from all the previews in the press that it's going to be it's going to be the nice little accompaniment for not Me Too, but for those who are even more silent to watch it and know that they're not alone, and even
Right.
the world of fiction reflects it. So I'm looking forward to that, and not just an entertainment aspect, but what it can add to the socio-political stage at this moment in our country.
Right.
Absolutely. And then, in too many situations, women that are victimized by situations like this, the biggest problem is that because of fear, their God-given right to speak up and hold the person accountable gets taken away because, well, what if this happens? What if that happens? Maybe I can handle it on my own. Maybe I can ignore it. Maybe I can do this. And you get to watch the different stages of something very real, but not too real that, you're having flashbacks and go, okay, I can't watch this anymore. But it's, it is empowering, especially when you always have, that go-to friend that does know the situation and it's going, you need to do the right thing. You need to stay away from him. You need to do this. And it's like, yeah, I know, but it's not that simple.
In totally related but unrelated news, there was an interview this last week with Barbara Streisand where she was speaking of the Me Too movement, and somehow the conversation strayed, and she mentioned that she has twice cloned her dog, each time
Yeah,
for
I saw that.
$50,000. And she was rather upset that people were more upset about her dogs being cloned than the statement she was trying to make about the Me Too movement. So if you're going to do a Me Too statement, don't mention you cloned your pets. That's another life hack. Don't do that.
Wait, I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. She did what to her dogs?
She cloned them.
Yeah. So if you're going to bring up like something really serious, don't mention you clone your animals.
Yeah, I saw it on Saturday Night Live the other night. They had one of those fake news stories during their weekend update, but it was real.
It wasn't fake.
No, it wasn't fake, but then they make a joke about it.
So Barbara Streisand has clone troopers.
Yeah, she's got
2-year-old
white fluffy dogs.
Because they're dogs, so they're clone poopers.
Clone poodles.
Poopers. Clone poopers.
Poopers, because that's going a different direction now. It's like you replicated your Duke this morning.
Poopers.
I don't know animal breeds. That could be the type of dog it is for all I know.
No, that's the corgis. I don't know. I think you have to wave
at
them
like
I
recently found out that a shih tzu is actually a thing and not an insult, so that's an actual dog.
That's an emoji.
So, going back to the Oscars and sticking with Doctor Who, animated feature film will be Loving Vincent because Vincent the Doctor. That's the only reason. Because in the Mark Who 42 universe, we stick with what we know. Forget Boss Baby. That Alec Baldwin's got a good thing with Trump. We don't need him doing Boss Baby. So it's Loving Vincent.
Well, you also forget that, Disney probably bought the Oscar for Coco in some way.
Oh,
somehow.
Yeah, that's right. The Oscars were on ABC, aren't they?
Preemptively, I believe that the Spawn movie without Spider-Man is obviously going to win the Oscars next year. Because that does not sound terrible.
Well, I have a feeling that it's all going to be based
Venom, I mean.
A lot of... It's all going to be superheroes,
let's get the right word, because Spawn is coming up, but it's not with Spider-Man. Different company. Oh,
I don't know.
okay. So I think
I'd rather see that.
I think we've got all the news that's fit to print here.
But we have no news. We had to ramble. I mean...
Well,
have you ever actually watched the real
I
news
know.
when there's no news?
This news segment of Mark Who 42 is brought to you by Ramble On. Ramble On, the newest dating service out there.
It's a Led Zeppelin song.
It is. Ramble On.
When I go out when I come back from a hard day of playing tennis at the court, you know what I like to do? Put on some Ramble On. It makes me feel refreshed, comforted. And you know what? I always have something to say. Ramble On. 5 minutes.
Ramble On, another not advertiser of Mark Who 42s.
This news segment of Mark Who 42 has been sponsored by Cosplay Convention Center. You can find more information by clicking the link on markwho42.net. They are a database for cosplayers, for anyone who works in the convention limelight. If you're looking for us, we're there. They have a database that narrows down where we're going to be If you're looking for Doctor Who conventions in your area, this is a place to look. If you're looking for certain people going to conventions, you can find them there too. This database is amazing, and it's wonderful to use if you need to find out about your favorite genre, your favorite podcasts, your favorite professional cosplayers. Check out the Cosplay Guide. Again, you can find their link on marku42.net.
Okay, we're going to take a break here. When we come back, we're going to go to what we tried to segue to 3 times during the past half hour. We're going to talk about companions. What makes a good companion, who our favorite companions are, and who our most hated companion is. We'll be right back here on Mark Who 42.
Don't go away. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Mark Who 42 after this.
I did my Christmas shopping, and I got my girlfriend the Peter Capaldi crystal carving at DoctorWhoCrystals.com. And you should go there too. They've got official BBC licensed crystal carvings of all the doctors inside of a crystal carving of a TARDIS. They are actual crystal, and they are beautiful. They've got every doctor to choose from, and they're only $100. They're not that expensive. So do what I did and get your spouse happy by buying them a crystal carving from DoctorWhoCrystals.com. You know, I might buy the War Doctor one for myself. Hey, Iggy.
Yes.
You know, I know that you started watching Doctor Who as a newbie, you know, with the new show, but have you gotten a chance to watch all 7 classic Doctors in action?
I have not.
Well, you know, you can find the most complete collection of Doctor Who ever broadcast in the U.S. on Retro TV.
Shut the front door. Are you serious?
I'm serious, and you don't even need cable for this. This is over-the-air television. You have an HD antenna. You can watch around the country Retro TV. Many of the stories have been remastered and enhanced from their original film and videotape elements, so they come out beautifully perfect in HD.
Mind blown.
It's free. You just have to go to your TV and find Retro TV, and you can watch all the great Doctor Who. They show 2 episodes Monday through Friday, and they show more than that.
I think I shall get my pajamas and my Ben & Jerry's then.
And recently they've added news stories. Not news stories as in like they made new stories, but news stories that they haven't had in rotation, such as several Patrick Troughton tales that weren't on before. They're adding them to them. So there's more to watch because, you know, those new stories became available. Web of Fear and Enemy of the World. So they've added things like that.
Oh my, I'm excited.
So don't forget to go and look for Retro TV and watch Doctor Who. You can go to RetroTV.com and look for their schedule for exactly when Doctor Who is on in your area.
I'm logging in as we speak.
Hello, my name's Terry Malloy, who also plays Davros, and you are now listening to Mark Who 42. Be very afraid.
Mark's my most hated companion.
That's Mark.
Oh, that was nice because we just started. Welcome back to Mark Who 42, and I'm the most hated companion. Okay, now let's talk about what makes a good companion, folks. Let's go to Iggy first because I know Iggy always has a good opinion about hated companions.
Well, clearly they all have what it's...
And I am going to taco block everyone right here. Clara does not count.
Oh my God! Come on.
I've taken Clara off the board because you're all going to say the same answer. Clara's off the board.
Because
this is
it's
quick
the truth.
thinking. Oh, wait.
I like
No,
what
it to
makes a
be
good
true.
companion?
Search your feelings.
I like Clara. She's nice and sweet and pretty and has a round face. I like her. Like, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
so did Moffat,
Iggy,
okay?
what makes
So...
a good companion?
yeah, she was on the show for like 39 years too. So obviously
She
someone liked her.
was. She was on the show since the beginning. Before the beginning. Because she helped the Doctor pick out the TARDIS.
I thought we weren't going to talk about Clara.
No, I'm not saying she's
We
I'm saying she's
gonna
not the
talk
worst.
about Clara.
All right, we're not talking about Clara.
What is with like everyone hating Clara? I don't get it.
We're not talking about
Ken, I see what you're doing
He
here,
broke
man.
the canon.
I'm sorry. I just don't get it. I mean, I mean, I don't know of any companion where I have, like, even Turlo, I kind of get why he was because he was supposed to be.
Fudge it. Fire in the hole. You're going to get some right now, okay? First of all, number one, okay, Clara and her little doughy eyes, okay, she's manipulative, she's power tripping, okay? You threw the doctor's keys away. Who exactly do you think you are in this relative show?
Thank you.
Okay? Who exactly do you think you are? Because she lost her way as a companion, knew she was doing it, didn't give a single shirt in any size or dimension about it.
And then after she threw the keys in.
Didn't she save the doctor by jumping into the timeline?
Yeah, she saved the doctor. That's
like a good companion
thing
to me.
It's called compensating for your bad actions.
No, it's not. Yeah. It's called jumping into the timeline and being a good companion. It's not just
Ken, what makes a good companion?
Jesus, take the wheel.
I think being chosen by the doctor makes you a good companion. It's whatever the doctor feels that he or she needs at that time, or whatever they're in the mood for. Like Madame de Pompadour, I remember when that episode came out, Girl in the Fireplace, almost everybody, at some point in that episode, you could feel that Sophia Myles would have been a great companion. And she would have. But Madame de Pompadour ended up passing away. So instead of being a great companion, it made it a beautiful episode. But obviously the doctor wanted to travel with her, and it's a girl that a woman that he knew a day but loved a lifetime. But what kind of love was it? And I think a good companion, going along those lines, are people that the doctor can love. And he loves everybody in the universe, and this very unique person who exists outside of time. I believe, according to I believe it was the BBC novels of the 90s, Time Lords think so differently that they have 164 tenses, because that's how different their thought is from our own. So their concept of love may be totally different. So the doctor loves everybody, but all at the same time, we may not be able to even comprehend what does that mean to someone who exists outside of time and space and understands the fleeting nature of all things. So what makes a great companion? Someone who stands out from his Gallifreyan perspective of love as someone who would keep him grounded, and someone who, as we've seen in the new series, keeps him or her safe from him or herself, because the doctor can go too far. When you have that much power and that much knowledge, you need someone to say, "Oi," and stop you.
Time Lord
Victorious. To hold your hand and say it's okay.
That's a good definition, Ken. I think we're going to go with that one. I think a companion is definitely necessary for the show. I mean, originally they put the role of a companion as a cipher, so that when the doctor does something strange or does something that is unexplainable, he can then explain it to somebody so that the audience of the show could understand. And that was the original point of a companion. But a companion is also there to help the doctor, to do things that the doctor can't, or if there are two things that need to be done, they can split up and do it. It also helped stretch the stories. When they had like a 6-parter with only a 4-part story, you can have a companion locked up or running up and down corridors or something.
I think you're spot on. Your aforementioned point beckons back to our previous episode where we spoke of the doctor essentially being a Sherlock Holmes in space, and why the Holmesian stories Conan Doyle chose to give them from the perspective of Watson. Because if they were written by Sherlock Holmes, they would be 1 page long. And it would be rather boring.
You're right.
Shade.
I think the companion also helps keep the doctor grounded, because he's not human. He needs that human element to, someone to remind him that,
wasn't that a bit humanist of you to
but
think
there
that
were companions that weren't human. Adric, which we'll bring up in a few minutes under hated companions. Adric, he was not human. Nyssa was not human.
But they were with other companions that were.
Well, Adric was with Romana. And Romana wasn't human either. And the Doctor and Romana traveled for 2 years without anybody else.
Okay.
Yeah, and Tom Baker loved Romana too. So I actually still fondly look at City of Death, and you could see the couple falling in love, running all around Paris.
Yes.
And that's one of my fondest Classic Who memories, is when I found out years later that the two of them, that was their love story. It made the episode even more magical to me, because you could say, why are they running around? Why are there so many scenes of them skipping and hopping all around Paris? That's because they're a couple falling in love before our eyes.
Paris,
and that
the
was
city
really
of
beautiful.
love.
It's the city of Time Lord love.
There you go.
That's weird, because I thought Paris was the city of fromage.
It's the city of people who gave you the wrong directions to a
Did you have
train.
a seizure and we did nothing? Did you have a seizure?
That was French for what I said was really cheesy. You can tell because fromage. I think Good Companion is obedient, but also challenging at the same time. It's knowing your place. Obedient, absolutely. Knowing your place. Because when you are going, let's say, for example, that I were to go take a road trip and go visit Zion. I've never been to where he lives. So why am I going to go and wander off and not listen to him when he goes, don't go down that street? You know, there is obedience to a sense, but at the same time you challenge it. Because if it's a matter of, hey, maybe it would be more useful if we did a thing that you've been saying not to do. How about we try it? Eventually,
That's a very good point.
Yeah, it's obedience sounds like such a bad word, but is it really? Because when the doctor tells you not to do something, typically you want to because you are trusting that, well, he kind of knows what he's talking about. Maybe I should do that. But you still challenge him, not by going off and do it in any ways. I mean, sometimes you do that because, women are like that. We don't like to listen sometimes, especially to men. But
yeah, that's what I hear, Iggy.
So long as you don't say "I told you so," the entire argument should go fairly smooth. But there should be a form of, hey, step outside of your, comfort zone. But at the same time, I'm going to listen to you because you are the time traveler here. You've been alive since, probably the dawn of time itself. So I don't know. I trust that you know what we're doing here.
See, and that was the thing about Clara that bothered me, was that she just never listened to the doctor. It was always, I know better than you.
Almost as if she was human and flawed and had depth and character. Oh, no.
Not a real
no.
human. Real humans exactly on like Doctor Who. No. We have to have the artificial type.
When it comes down to a Time Lord, I'm betting cash no one is going to think that they know more than a 2,000-year-old time traveler. I can almost guarantee that.
And she's really the only companion that went that far with it, too.
I know more than a 2,000-year-old time traveler.
Also, think about it.
Oh, you're just going to let that fly. You're not going to ask me about that. Okay.
No, I'm ashamed of you saying it, so we're moving on.
Oh. No, I'm just saying that I know things that Peter Capaldi doesn't remember about Doctor Who. So I know more things than the 2,000-year-old Time Lord.
I don't know the things I don't remember, so that's not saying a lot, man.
Well, but it's saying enough that it's not
sometimes
that
your brain
embarrassing.
Sometimes your brain doesn't get sleepy, so you just don't know. So if you're around for like 2,000 years, I can't remember who I met like last week. So if you live for like 2,000 years, there's a lot of acquaintances that he met, and apparently all of them are important, even though I doubt he remembers any of them.
Ken, it's called CRS, and we get it while we get older. So
you know what? I am actually going to contest
I have it
point.
now.
I'm going to go ahead and contest that. Hold on. I'm going to contest that. Okay, because as far as being flawed and human, there is exceptions to every rule. Absolutely. All the companions are human. They're flawed. They are clouded by fear or pride or whatever it could be, because that is the human disease. However, Clara is the one that took it way too far. Okay, knowing when to stop, the woman did not. Okay, or she did recognize it. She just did not care because she was dead set on what she wanted to accomplish because she thought it was for the greater good. Now, granted, her intentions, I'm not judging her based on her intentions. I am judging her solely on her actions. That she knew better and chose not to.
What would happen if she didn't do any of that? she may have been right.
Then she would have been a decent companion. She would have been just like the rest.
She would have been alive.
Oh,
There's
snapping turtles. That's shade.
There's
Ooh.
an interesting concept that we adopted from the French. The idea of authenticity coming from consistency. And the consistent companion, according to what I believe I'm hearing you say, what I've heard other Clara detractors say, is that she kind of strayed from the consistent norm of a companion who always was predictable, always supported the Doctor most of the time, didn't truly challenge him. And one who is inconsistent and therefore is not actually reliable and true comes from the French word poser. And so literally our word poser comes from this concept. So authenticity through consistency, she is not consistent with previous companion archetypes, so therefore she is not authentic. Is that
Yeah. Yes.
So
if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If something works, it works for a reason. I think that Bill is the perfect example of being a good companion and at the same time challenging the Doctor, because she challenged him verbally first. She didn't just go off and do something. She still stood by him. Okay, she questioned it and challenged it, like, why are we doing this and why that and why this? Like, hold on a second, think about this. And to the point where the Doctor was able to go, you know what, you're right. That perspective is not one that I had accounted for previously.
But does not an artist, like many great painters and musicians, do they not need to first learn the rules of what it means to be a great artist before they learn how to properly break the rules to be something unique? So therefore, Clara, who we do not know the extent of the memories that she has over her many lifetimes of being, in a way, a companion through every regeneration, she knew possibly or knows the rules well enough to break them in a way that's unique and new to help the Doctor in a way that no other companion could have.
Assuming that was the intent in which she did it, sure, I can go ahead and agree with that, but at no point ever was that ever a flavor that was stated.
Nor is it not stated.
Oh, Clara was very good at talking about her reasons and her passions and where it's coming from and why she feels the way she does.
Those who speak often are often the ones who speak the least.
I feel like you're being boss baby right now. That particular scene where they're riding the bike and it's just quotes after quotes.
Speaking of companions, are you guys ready for Graham, Ryan, and Yasmin?
Yeah.
You mean the 39 people that'll be on the TARDIS? Like
yeah, well, I've only listed 3 of them. The other 36 haven't been announced yet.
Like, a great companion for the upcoming season looks like if you can fit in the TARDIS. I mean, because there's going to be so many people there. And I know that the first and second Doctor had, like, you know, a gaggle of companions. I guess I'm okay with that. But what I would like to see is them unexpectedly seeing Jackie Tyler sitting up high on a banister, and they didn't expect it. And, like, that would be great. And if she was the companion and everything else was just a red herring to throw us off the scent, and we saw up the return of that character. That
Jackie
I
Tyler.
would really enjoy this. Yes.
Okay.
That would be hilarious.
It would be hilarious.
That's my choice. That's my choice. And that
Let's
everybody
fake
else
out the entire world and put Jackie Tyler in the TARDIS. I like that.
I know there was a lot of backlash in the UK about who's the older companion
Bradley
that's coming
Walsh is the actor.
There was a lot of backlash.
Well, the reason there was a lot of backwash...
Why is that?
Okay, there was a lot of backwash because he's hosting a game show now. He's a
because
game
he looks
show
like
host.
he hosts a game show.
But
the chase is on.
But hold on. He was in Law & Order UK with Apollo from Battlestar Galactica, Freema Agyeman, Peter Davison. I'm sorry, the guy's a good actor. There should be no
because
problem.
He worked with people from Doctor Who. He's a good actor.
Well, no. But the show was good. It's a good show. Law & Order UK was a very good show. It's the only Law & Order show I would watch. And he's done other things that he's been very credible in. And the fact that everyone was relying on him that, oh, he's just a game show host, he'll make a terrible companion, to me that was a low blow, and he probably didn't like that. You know, I mean, he has done a body of work, and everyone's going, oh, he's a host of a game show, well, he shouldn't be a Doctor Who companion.
I agree.
Simple as that.
I don't care. I don't really care.
Well, my issue is, why does the Doctor need so many freaking companions? Like, this is excessive. It's excessive. I mean, like, 1 or 2, cool. But when you're 3, I'm looking at this going, why?
3 is a great
Family.
number. A full TARDIS is a happy TARDIS.
3
No,
is a
because
magic
what happens when you get too many
number.
humans that are flawed?
Well,
and
because the
whatever
first thing,
under the
Jodie Doctor went to IKEA and got some awesome bunk beds, and
Yeah.
she saves space in a space that doesn't need to save space, but it's really well organized
Definitely.
and Swedish. So
which
once she
means
bought
that you have additional screws for no reason, and that really ticks me off. Like, where does it belong? Why do I have?
That's why you pay the $10 and have them build it. Like, I don't want to build a cupboard.
I
like here,
build
like-
dressers and bookshelves, and I'm fine with that. I like IKEA.
Yeah, I
Except
put
it's
myself
for
through college.
short people, because have you seen the chairs? The chairs are too low. The beds are too low. It's like it's only for the people that Randy Newman sings about. It's really not.
Well, isn't IKEA a Swedish company?
Are Swedes small?
Yeah. Okay. No, they're tall. They
Well,
are
then
taller
why are they
than
making
all-
everything small?
Because they were trying to be considerate. They don't know about shortness. They just know that everybody else around them is short, so they have to. If we're going to sell furniture, we can't tailor it to us. We have to tailor it to short people, and they don't know anything about being short.
And going back to my thesis, she got a great deal on some bunk beds. And, being practical, she didn't want to put them to waste.
Well,
so she was
weren't there
like,
bunk beds already in there? Didn't Matt Smith tell Karen and Arthur to use the bunk beds?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Bunk beds are
Yeah,
already in
but
there.
I think they're going to retcon that and say there are no bunk beds.
Ah.
And that'll be like the one retcon. And as opposed to everybody having many theories that a lot of the previous scripts will be thrown out, they're just throwing out the bunk beds.
I think
That is the
Bradley Walsh should get his own room and let the other 2 kids use the bunk beds.
No, this one has 3 layers.
3 layers? Well, then Bradley has to sleep on the bottom. I don't think he can get up to the top.
Yeah, I don't want to climb three tiers of bunk beds.
I'm younger than Bradley is, and I don't want to go to the 3rd one. No, not happening.
Yeah, Bradley Walsh. I'm glad you told me he was a game show host, because he does look like he would, host the $100,000 pyramid or whatever.
Oh, God.
Oh my goodness!
He hosts the Chase,
Like one of
which
the
is a very
episodes will be like
intellectual game.
it'll be like the $100,000 pyramid of Mars.
Yeah,
where he
that would work as an episode title. Except they'll call it the 100,000-pound Pyramid of Mars.
Yeah, and if you win, you get to dance with Sutek the Destroyer.
Oh my gosh!
I want
Who
them to
is
bring
your
back
favorite
Sutek the
companion?
Destroyer.
Let's go there.
I want it to be Sutek the Destroyer. I want him just to be like,
Sutek is your favorite companion? Is that what you're saying?
I think he's the one who should be the companion because, for one, awesome suit. Second, fashion choices, dead on. Secondly, you'll never be lonely because he always brings his mommy. And third,
But we're bringing Jackie Tyler, so you don't have to worry about that.
well, do you remember the book, The Nth Doctor?
Yeah?
Where there was and this was a strong fan theory that Sutek may have been the Doctor's father.
Oh, God.
I'm not
I
kidding.
remember that.
Yeah,
I don't think I remember that from the Nth Doctor at all.
Yeah, it's one of the stories in The Nth Doctor.
Well, the Nth Doctor was a book about the movies that were never made. So you're telling me...
Yeah, and it was one of the proposed scripts involved Sutek.
But his father? I don't
Yeah.
remember that. I got to go back and read that.
I'm fairly certain it was in the Nth Doctor. It may have been actually in one of the canonical texts, but I believe it was in the Nth Doctor.
I'll have to take a look. Okay.
But a companion who, if we already have the Master turning into a companion, why not take a classic series villain and make that person come to life? I'm not talking about like Omega. Like Sutek, we know so little about this character, but there's also so much that we do know and that's implied that it will be fascinating if Sutek took on a human form and lost all power and then had to travel as just a human with the Doctor. That would be a brilliant story.
I have another idea for a companion that would be perfect. And they brought this character back this season so it's perfect that this becomes a companion. How about Alpha Centauri?
Nah.
Oh, yes!
Jill-
Right. Doctor, what can we do? Oh, we have to do this. Okay. Hey.
That voice is going to get old real quick.
Oh, it's great. I know, the voice would do it. The voice, it's all about the voice.
Well, maybe Alpha Centauri could take some speech classes, and then perhaps...
I'd like to lower her voice until it gets to my voice.
No, you
And then they'll
sound
hire me
like a
to be
freaking
the
speak and
voice of
spell
Alpha
that's running out of
Centauri.
batteries.
Do speaking spells that run out of... Do they really sound like that? You have children,
When they're
apparently.
running out of battery,
Their pitch increases?
and I'm like, turn that off. Turn that off right now. That demonic thing does not belong in my house. Be gone.
I would like a speaking spell to be the new companion.
The speaking spell.
So just
The
like,
cow goes moo!
It's like, what do you think we should do today, speaking spell?
No, it should be a magic 8-ball. The magic 8-ball should be the companion.
No,
Or
it's
the
terrible because it always gets cut on the weird edge of the triangle. So you're like, what is the answer? Is it no? Is it maybe? I don't know.
I've
Tell
never
me.
had that problem, Iggy. That's all you.
I think there should be like a 7-episode story arc without the Doctor, just starring Handles and not actually moving anywhere.
Oh, God.
And it's just like Handles, like Deep Thoughts by Handles.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta pay Saturday Night Live for that one.
Like, you're good enough, you're strong enough, and gee golly, you don't need a body.
God darn it, people like me. Oh, Stuart Smalley, you are the bane of my existence. Okay, we still haven't gotten to who your favorite companion is that we've had on already.
Leela.
Leela, why?
Because the dynamic between someone who doesn't kill, taking someone whose main thought is to kill their enemies, is a very nice dynamic, and it worked really well.
No
Okay,
Janus
so you
fault.
like
No
My
Janus
Fair
fault.
Lady and Pygmalion. That's good. Okay, mine would be Sarah Jane Smith because she was my first. All right, that's it. Okay, next. Well, Tom Baker's my favorite Doctor because he's my first. Sarah's my first companion. Harry Sullivan doesn't count. I do not
Why
think
not?
of him as my favorite. I like the actor. I like Ian Mortar. He was great. But Harry Sullivan was not my favorite companion.
But the Target novel, Harry Sullivan's War, was really
Oh,
fun.
that was so not Doctor
Weird.
Who, that novel.
It was weird, but I loved it.
Yeah. Okay, Ken, your favorite companion?
I remember at the time I thought that Martha was a wonderful companion, and I really rather liked her at the time. Looking back, of all time, Romana 1 is still my favorite companion.
Ooh.
She's just so classy. She knew how to properly land the TARDIS.
Right.
She actually used the owner's manual. She was a wonderful counter for my personal favorite season, the Key to Time season. To me, that's the gem. That's the height of Doctor Who.
Okay.
The Key to Time, Romana, K9, and the Fourth Doctor. That's about as good as the classic series gets. And the new series, it's kind of like that magical David Tennant era and Rose that everybody harkens back to as the time that the show truly got its legs. And the argument could be made very well that if it wasn't for the story between Ten and Rose, the show may not have lasted as long as it had. Because it took a very prototypical star-crossed lover, man and woman relationship for the story to get the legs to reach this huge international market. Once they did that, they got away from the trope of the star-crossed lovers, then they could start having the married couples, and they could start having all these different things, these very avant-garde companions. But Russell T Davies, a brilliant gentleman, by going completely against many thoughts from the classic series and adding a dramedy to the show. And in that way, I would say Rose is my modern series favorite companion, not for the character, but for the sheer fact that it made the show popular enough that we're still talking about it in 2018, even though it came out in 2005.
True. Iggy.
Come back to me. Go to Trish.
Trish.
My favorite companion is Donna.
Yay! My modern.
I like it because Doctor got a friend. He didn't. Well, of course, I didn't watch the classic Who until some of it just recently, and so I am only going off of New Who, and I didn't know that this whole romanticizing the Doctor with his companion. I didn't realize that wasn't a thing before, and it was just so I got it with Rose and with Martha, and then when Donna came along, it was like, oh, cool, we can just get back to adventures without having to worry about the companion wanting to sleep with the Doctor. It was just nice to have a break from all of this sexual tension and stuff. It was just nice to have just adventures, and I liked how she was opinionated and told the Doctor what she thought. But what differs her from Clara is that she would still defer to the Doctor, and she still had the respect for him.
Mm-hmm.
A good companion is someone that the Doctor can trust. The Doctor, after Darkwater, could not trust Clara. Regardless of what the Doctor felt, he could not trust her after she threw the TARDIS keys into the lava.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point.
Yep.
Very true.
I have to state here that I did say Sarah Jane Smith, but I'd go remiss without my companion crush, Ace.
Ace.
Sophie would have killed me if I didn't bring her up. Ace was my crush companion, so that would be in a way my favorite companion as well. Nitro 9, she was all I would have. Anyway, and no other companion would I have. But
leather spandex and sunglasses.
Yeah, and the bat that can break a Dalek. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
Iggy, we're back to you.
I would have to say Amelia Pond.
Amelia, not Amy, Amelia.
Amelia Pond. Little child. You get to see her grow up, and she's like loyal, but at the same time, she's so feisty, and she is brave, and she is just assessing the situation, thinking for herself. But she's loyal and standbys Doctor. And she's also the Mom's River song. She's just overall awesome to me. And then she's married to Rory, which at first I was like, I don't know how this is gonna. It's working. Alrighty then. Just the entire dynamic in general. And she's of course crazy redhead. She's the one to have the nerve to have Hanky Panky in the TARDIS. So we salute you, oh hero of Hanky Panky in TARDIS. I was trying to make this a Bud Light commercial, but it's not working.
No, it's not.
Real women of genius. Done. Okay.
All right.
Real Housewives of Doctor Who.
Where's
I'd watch
the
it. It would be on E!
Be an Oxygen.
Doesn't the new Doctor Who logo look like it's like the cover of an Oxygen magazine? Like the font?
You go back to the font.
Yeah, I only know that O exists because of doctor's offices. So,
yeah.
Yeah, they do
where
always
they
have that
sell 'em most.
on there. Either that or like soap operas.
Oprah
So I was
gives
at
them
like in a
free to
doctor's
the
office
doctor's
past week, and I looked at it and went like, hey, it looks like the Doctor Who logo. That's all I got.
All right, worst companion, not
Fancy.
including Clara.
Exit stage left.
What makes a bad
We'll start
companion?
with Trish. Worst companion.
Someone that the Doctor can't trust.
Bingo.
Someone
Which would have been, and can't use Clara. Okay, all right. If I have to, I will go first.
I feel like the Grand
worst.
Clara apologist.
I think the worst companion was Adric, and the reason was not necessarily because of his acting chops, though he was just starting out and not really experienced, but the writing of the character of Adric was all over the place. Not one episode went by where the character was consistent with the story before it, and that is why I hated Adric.
The Peter Davison era was always all over the place. Nyssa was brilliant, and then she wasn't. What
Yeah.
happened? Did she ride in the TARDIS and then it's like fall on her head? So that entire era, as much as I love Peter Davison himself, and as a child, that show was magical to me. And I remember when Peter Davison toured, I was like 8 or 7 years old
Yeah.
at USF, and I walked up to him and I actually thought he was the Doctor, and he spoke to me as the Doctor. It was quite amazing. Despite all of that, looking back, that was kind of a cattywampus era of wondering whether or not the writers even saw the previous episode. Was there consistency?
Yeah.
That may have been a result of the era, the writers they were getting. Jonathan Nathan Turner, he was getting his chops during that time. He was still, as the Romans would say, a novus homo. He was a new man, so he was finding his way. But he found his way during at least a very short tenured Doctor, and a purposely short tenured Doctor. So that's my defense for Adric and all of the characters in that time period was actually the showrunner. Though he had a very small hand at the latter era of Tom Baker, I think he was just getting his feet wet, understanding what being the showrunner meant, and found his way more, even though they're silly and odd at times. The Colin Baker era and the Sylvester McCoy eras at least had character consistency, while the era with the Fifth Doctor lacked in that. And it was, in a way, its strength was its lead. Its lead was phenomenal. So the actors did the best they could with what they had.
Well, I want to ask in which terms of inconsistency, because Tegan was consistent as far as I can see. Turlough was as well. The only ones that even had slight inconsistency, I'd say, was Nyssa and sometimes Adric. And if you want to count just those two characters out of the rest of the main cast, if you want to add Anthony Ainley in there as well, he was consistent throughout the entire fifth run as well. So I don't know if you could count the whole series, the whole time of 5 as inconsistency.
You could go back to your first character you mentioned. You mentioned Tegan. When she was first basically abducted from Australia as a flight attendant, she didn't want to be there. Over time, she grew to accept it, except for the episodes where she did not. So she would rage against the TARDIS machine, if you will, in one episode, and another episode being compliant. And that was a true inconsistency in her character. And once again, going back to Nyssa. Nyssa was brilliant in one episode, not brilliant in another. We would see Chameleon, who would be, barely there due to unfortunate things that happened off screen, actually. But they could have had the consistency of at least evolving Chameleon into something they could have kept on the show. Every companion during that era, in my opinion, had true inconsistencies. I think mainly it seemed like a communication problem between writers as opposed to problems with the shows themselves. It seemed like they didn't have, like how Star Trek has a Bible of rules and you must follow. I don't believe the writers during that time period, and I may be very incorrect, they were not given the rubrics by which they should follow for this is the way the character behaves. So that inconsistency seemed like a problem with a show and the writers not speaking to each other. And that's why I'm going back to, I think it may have been Jonathan Nathan Turner just not knowing how to sync all of that up. And it's not saying anything bad about the era. It just felt like something behind the scenes wasn't meshing.
I respectfully disagree.
Oh, okay. I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying it
of
wasn't
course.
consistent. Yeah.
Zion, your most hated companion of the show.
Ooh, worst companion. I'm gonna have to say I want to roll with my gut and say Rose, but only after season 1, because season 1 Rose was great. Because I don't like the love dynamic for a time traveler and a mortal woman. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, even though he does have the capacity to love and all, he is 900 years old, coming straight off of a war where he loses most of his race. If not, at the time, he thought most of his race. At that point, love would be a very, very hard, redundant thing, especially coming from someone who dies within 90 years. So, coming off of whatever he was feeling as a 9th Doctor going into the 10th, it doesn't really make sense, in my opinion.
Okay. Anyone else want to chime in on their least favorite companion?
What is it? Martha. That one, she It's mainly because I just lost interest, and she was there for a very short time, and then she kind of like, started developing feelings for the Doctor, and then the Doctor has to kindly like reject her in a really like awkward and painful way.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could feel the awkwardness, like, oh snap, you just got turned down. Oh my God, this is so, how are you going to do this? You're not. That's how. Okay, so, how do you carry on with a man you're in love with that doesn't want that? I mean, he just wants, can we just be friends? Like, he just friend zoned you. That's hard. And yeah, that's awkward. So for me, it was just like, I didn't want it. We could have skipped all of that, and it wouldn't have really made much of a hiccup in that.
I agree with that because, in a way, that character was too real. In that respect, it hit close to home. And many times in one's life, you may have strong feelings for another while they're still hung up on their ex.
Yeah, and I did see that. I
I
totally saw that Martha was falling in love with the Doctor. The Doctor was totally oblivious to it because he was still harping over Rose. I do see that the character never really had a chance.
She came in wrong time, wrong place.
Right. Trish, how about you?
I might actually have to agree with Iggy. Martha, there's times that I liked her, and a lot of the episodes of that season are really good, but it's when it didn't focus on her feelings for the Doctor.
Right.
Rose Point too, and it was just, it got boring after a while, and that's why I was so happy when Donna came along. So it was, I love Freema. She's a great actress, and I love a lot of the episodes in that season. But it's just when it focused on the story and not on what she was feeling for the Doctor.
Mm-hmm. And I think she was falling in love with him for all the wrong reasons. I don't think that she was falling in love with him because of him as a person, air quotes,
Mm-hmm.
okay? But I think she was falling in love with the idea of the Doctor, which is this handsome man whose identity, physical appearance, is subject to change. Clearly, as we see, the Doctor could have turned into a female. Were you ready for that? I don't think she was considered. Whereas, Billie Piper, she was in love with the Doctor himself, not his appearance. He could have changed into whatever, and it wouldn't have mattered to her.
She loved his soul.
Exactly.
They were soulmates.
I don't think that Martha was falling in love with the Doctor for the right reasons. It's just the adventure and the allure and how different and how special and protective he is. And what it must be because most men aren't that way, and again it goes back to the whole it being like too real because there's the male perspective of you're cut up on somebody else, it's too fresh, too soon, and then there's the female perspective of maybe you are getting the things that you were missing, and you're not really, I guess would be rebound, being with somebody for all the wrong reasons just because he's Mr. Right now, not Mr. Right. And I think it kind of took some of the savory flavor from the whole companion dynamic a little bit, and had a bitter aftertaste that we could have done without. Like a Sour Patch Kids. First they're sour, then they're sweet, and then they're gone. So
it's funny that you guys were saying Martha Jones was your least favorite companion, because I just Googled reason for a Doctor Who companion, and the number 2 slot says 5 reasons Martha Jones of Doctor Who was just the best. There are people who love Martha.
I really loved Martha.
Same.
I loved
her too.
If you had the exact same companion that you've had before, it had just how Donna had absolutely no interest, having the one who had an interest, the Doctor wasn't interested in her. The Tennant era did a nice job of exploring the spectrum of romance. So he was the romantic Doctor and explored all of the tropes of love's labor lost and gained.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break. When we come back with more of Mark Who 42, we are going to have our convention report. We'll be right back after this.
Don't go away. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Mark Who 42 after this.
Marku42 is proud to have Famous Faces and Funnies as a sponsor of our show. They have literally tons and tons of comic books, novelties, and everything. They're located off of 3020 New Haven Avenue in West Melbourne. If you want to give them a call, let them Marku42 sent you. You can call them at 321-258-3575. But they are a huge store. I mean, you've seen comic stores, but this one is kind of like the Costco of comic stores. They have tons of merchandise. It's incredible. You can go from one store, then there's another section and another section. They have tons and tons of stuff there for you to buy. If you have any geekdom out there, Famous Faces and Funnies has got it. Doctor Who, Star Trek, Star Wars, everything. Rick, the guy who runs it, real great guy. You definitely want to check out Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida.
Marku42, April 1st, Easter Sunday, April Fool's Day, 6th anniversary. It's an episode you can't miss, and it will be live on Spreaker Radio and on the Marku42 app.
Hi, I'm #1 New York Times bestselling author Tony Lee, and you're listening to Marku42.
We're back with more of Marku42 here on Krypton Radio. I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten. With me today are Trish Fryer, Iggy Matthews, Ken Spivey, and Zion Kuros. All right, guys, you know what time it is?
It's time for the convention report. I'm so excited.
Woo!
Woo!
Yeah, let's do this.
Woo!
Oh,
Like
yeah,
this
and
people.
coming
Yeah.
up in just a couple of weeks is CalusaCon, comic and pop culture event. It's in Fort Myers at the Calusa Nature Center and Planetarium, connecting people with nature. CalusaCon is mostly a fan convention, not really big with the guests. It's the first time they're doing it, and it looks like a lot of fun, and Marku42 will be there as well. We've got Tim Proctor, Chalet Lisette Brannon, tons of cosplayers, tons of featured cars, including the General Lee from Dukes of Hazzard and Bandit from Smokey and the Bandit. We've got a kids zone for all the kids there because this is a family convention, and a lot of stuff based on The Walking Dead and Doctor Who because of us, Marku42. This convention is Saturday, March 24th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. $10 admission online tickets, kids free under 11, $15 at the door. And then May 24th through 27th is MegaCon Orlando. Woohoo! The one we do every year, the one that we get a lot of fans from. And who else is going to be there? Well, you got Cress Williams, Black Lightning himself. You've got Pee Wee Herman's Paul Rubens. You've got Jeff Goldblum, Doctor Who's Catherine Tate. Yahoo! That was under some of our favorite companions, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Charlie Cox from Daredevil. A lot of people from The Princess Bride, including Carrie Ells, Chris Sarandon, Wallace Shawn. Who else is going to be there? Oh, Jim Lee, comic artist and writer. Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo, and Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti, the best married couple of comics out there. Oh, and Peter Tomasi from the Superman comics will be there too. And, of course, like I said, Marku42 will be there. Iggy, you've got a convention coming up too, don't you?
Yes, I do. I have a convention over in Nashville, Tennessee called MTAC, and I will be there March 30th through April 1st. I will be hosting panels there and cosplaying as well. So I will be updating you guys as the days get closer. And I also have another possible one here in Virginia, Tidewater Comic Con, coming soon this summer. And I will be also hosting several panels there as well. So if you are in the East Coast area or in Nashville, I would be happy to converse with you and meet with you and have fun.
Time Lord Fest Jacksonville will be in obviously Jacksonville. I believe it's June 16th. And we're returning to lovely at the University of North Florida. And the ball's rolling and everything looks lovely for this event. It's one of our favorite events to hold. And we look forward to seeing everybody return this year. And it was kind of touch and go, mainly because of the exhaustion of my wife and I, whether or not would be happening this summer. Mm-hmm. But due to very recent overwhelming interest, it's definitely on. So
all right.
We're back in Jacksonville, guys. We'll see you there this summer.
All right, and I'll be there, of course.
Of course.
It should be fun.
You've been there just about since the beginning.
Any last words, guys?
I'll be back.
You'll be back. Well, that's good because we have another show next week. In fact, next week I think we have the Velveteen Band, which was a band that played at Gallifrey 1 this year, and they were really good, weren't they, Trish?
Oh, they were really, really good. Yeah. Very entertaining.
Very entertaining. It's like watching a heavy metal band with Muppets. It was really good. It was So we'll be talking to some of them and playing some of their music next week. On that note, all I can say is, have TARDIS will travel. We'll talk to you next time here on Mark Who 42.
After dark.
Bye, everyone.
Mark Who 42 has been written and presented by Mark Baumgarten, Iggy Matthews, Ken Spivey, Zion Heroes, and Trish Helm Fryer. This episode was edited, directed, and produced by Mark Baumgarten. Visit markwho42.net, where you can register and become part of the Whoniverse Army. We can be contacted by email at mark@markwho42, subject line, ? You can have Mark Who 42 entertain at your next event or convention. Go to heroesonhand.com/markwho42. Space Coast Comics is a free monthly magazine found in over 120 locations currently throughout Brevard County, parts of Osceola, Volusia, and Indian River County in Florida, and available in Chicago. Follow them on Facebook to learn more. Doctor Who and its properties are owned by the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation. Mark Who 42 is owned and copyrighted by Mark Baumgarten 2018. This is Krypton Radio.